Okay, in this video, I'd like to chat to you a little bit about practicing and the difference between productive practice and very unproductive practice. So there's this kind of cool, interesting principle in computer programming, I think it is, called garbage in, garbage out. And basically, if you put in rubbish input, don't be surprised when you get rubbish output, garbage output. Okay, and it's the same when you're doing practicing for reading for the SAT. Um, Often when I meet kids, they've spent, I don't know, weeks, months practicing for reading, and they always say to me, Mr. Kabi, this is impossible. This reading exam, there's no way to improve in this test. I've spent months doing X, and my score is stuck in this very narrow band. So then I'll go, that's interesting. I'm glad to hear that you've spent so much time doing all this practice. I'm sorry to hear that you're not improving. And then usually I get them to tell me about, what are they doing to practice? What exactly, how they're practicing. And I'd say 95% all say the same thing. No, Mr. Curry, we bought the College Board Blue Book, or my older brother gave me a, I don't know, McGraw-Hill or Kaplan guide with a whole bunch of tests in it. And basically what I do is, every couple of days or once a week, I solve a test. And then I grade it, and then I move on. Dude, that's not practicing. Okay, that's doing something else. I don't exactly know what that is. Repetitious practice? I don't know. But that is not the kind of practice which is going to change your score. That is not what I call DP, deliberate practice. Okay, deliberate practice is a very different process. Okay, deliberate practice is about, yes, solving questions, yes, grading the questions, yes, seeing what the correct answer is. But that's only like, I don't know, 30% of the formula. The other 70% is about actually figuring out what you're doing wrong. If you're not figuring out what you're doing wrong in a question, or why an answer is incorrect, you've basically wasted all your time. There's no point in practicing like that. That's what deliberate practice is. Deliberate practice is finding out where you went wrong. You must have done something. Now, in my tutoring, for example, I'll teach kids a very specific process to figure out there's a step-by-step process for solving questions, and I'll teach them how to figure that out, like where in the process did they make a mistake. But you need to figure that out, right? You must understand what you've done wrong. Because I always say, if you get something wrong, you haven't made one mistake. You've made two mistakes at a minimum. Because why? You've marked the correct answer choice incorrect, and you've marked an incorrect answer choice correct. That's not one mistake. That's two mistakes. So what you need to do is you need to keep like a journal or something where you record your mistakes, and you kind of try mentally go through the process of figuring out, where did you go wrong in terms of solving this question? Where was your thinking incorrect? I don't know. I mean, it could be in a lot of places, but that's your job to figure that out, right? You have to figure out where you went wrong in the process. Now, just as a side note, DP is even better for math and the writing section, because, it's usually very simple to figure out where you went wrong in the process. But it still holds for reading. And that's the kind of process that you need to undergo when you're doing practice for SAT reading. Okay, it's not just about volume, and it's not just about like, oh, I got 10 wrong in this test, I got 15 wrong in the next one. Oh, well, I got 5 more wrong in this one than that one. So I guess nothing. I don't actually know what I'm doing. I'm just going to keep plodding along, and hopefully something twigs in my brain. No, you need to figure out what you're doing wrong. Okay. And the best kind of teaching is when you're able to find your own errors, where you're able to say, there's a pattern to the types of errors I'm making, right? I don't know, I'm misunderstanding the question. Or, these purpose questions, I really often make a mistake in, what am I not doing? Am I not getting the correct context? Whatever. You need to figure that out. That's a very important part of the learning process. Okay, so remember, stick to DP, deliberate practice, and it's going to help you markedly in the long run. Okay.